Welcome to the PharmaVOICE 100 one-on-one video series with Taryn Groen.
Donna, congratulations on being named to the 2020 PharmaVOICE 100, and thank you so much for joining us for our one-on-one conversation.
Thank you, Taryn. It's a pleasure to be here today.
As an expert in all things PR and communications, can you please tell us some of the trends you're tracking in terms of your clients?
Absolutely. In a COVID-19 environment, we're seeing a tremendous amount of company launches. It's an unprecedented time, of course, and we're seeing more and more capital get put into, in particular, platform technologies. And as a result, from a communications perspective, we're seeing a number of companies that need to be launched from a PR standpoint. Messaging, of course, and positioning is very, very critical. And we have our branded methodology, which is trademarked, called LHS Immersion. And so we're deploying that methodology to those messaging platforms. And also, it's never been more important time for earned media. Regardless of social media, we're continuing to see a lot of interest in earned media. So very interesting time for sure.
Absolutely. As an entrepreneur, since you are the founder of your organization, what advice or lessons that you've learned along the way that you can share to others who might be looking to take that big leap?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and it's an easy one for me to answer. I started this agency a week after 9/11. We were incorporated and had our first client. And, I have a philosophy: one door closes and many more open. I took the leap of faith based on feedback from a mentor of mine who I went to see and asked him, what he thought I should be doing. And he said to me, "Donna, when are you starting your agency?" And, the advice I would give people is, you need strong mentors, and you need to listen to the people who know you best, because what other people see in you, you may not see in yourself.
That's interesting. And who was that mentor? Would you mind sharing with us?
No, that was actually John Littlechild. He was one of the founding managing partners at Advent International. It's actually where my career started, and that's how I got to Genzyme in the early days. So I was working on the venture team in the healthcare group, and I, stayed in touch with John for a long time. And after I was at Genzyme and Alkermes, and I had gone back to John in the early days of biotech, and I said, there's only 3 big, decent-sized companies in Cambridge in biotech. It was Genzyme, Biogen, and Alkermes, and I had already been at Genzyme and Alkermes.
That's funny.
And he said, "When are you starting your agency?" So that's how it happened.
That's a great story. And didn't you also, wasn't Henry Termier also one of your mentors?
Correct. And so John, the story is that John worked, he was a board member on the Genzyme board. And so while I was working for John is how I got introduced to Genzyme in the early days. And it was actually John that connected me with Henri and said, "Donna, this is way before I started my firm, of course, this is a great company, you should get involved." And that's how I got hired at Genzyme.
So you've been involved with the biotech industry almost since its nascent days. So what is one big thing you've seen happen in the last 20 years for biotech?
The one big thing. Well, I think that there's clearly a theme in that, there's a thirst for innovation. Whether you think about biotech in the early days where it was, more product oriented, we've seen that evolution. But regardless of that, the key is anything around innovation and bringing, new treatments, changing healthcare is a prominent key theme, regardless of when you look at the path.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be part of the 100 team, so thanks again. Appreciate it.
For more PharmaVoice 100 content, visit www.pharmavoice100.com.